Welcome to the Medina Township regular trustees meeting, March 28, 2024. We'll come to order. Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Eastwood?
Here.
If you please join the trustees in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you please join the trustees in a moment of silence for our military, first responders, past, present, and future. But I would like to add tonight, a week or so ago, we lost Ray Jarrett. Ray had been a trustee for the township. He was a real integral part of the township. He was doing everything he could. He came back here to have some surgery, and he died a couple days after the surgery. So please keep him in your thoughts tonight also. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Some housekeeping. First of all, please silence your phones. If you haven't already, make sure they're silenced. We're always going to be respectful in our meetings. And when we get to public comments, the public comments will be held to 3 minutes. Okay. First item on the agenda was the roll call. We've done with that. The payroll is not ready, so we're going to move that somewhere down the line. We don't know when. If it comes in tonight, we'll bring that up. And then we have the police department commission and oath of office swearing in of a new police officer. So,
All right. So I'm going to have the pleasure tonight to swear in one of our new police officers. So if I could have Harold come on up. Harold is coming to us from Lindale, and he was a part-time officer there. He lives in the township, so he's a resident. And we are going to swear you in. So I'm basically going to read this part. You listen to me closely, and we'll try to not screw this one up. So you raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Harold Laura,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of Medina Township of Ohio.
and the resolutions of Medina Township of Ohio.
And I will discharge the duties of peace officer
I will discharge the duties of peace officer
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Pretty simple. I think you've done the best. And now we're gonna do some pictures too. Okay. So, right here. All right, that's it. And I think we want to get some photos here of the
Trustees first.
Ready? Beautiful. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right, Chief. You want me in here?
yeah,
No.
sure, please.
Wait, you
Further away.
we already got the trustees. Sorry, not the supervisors.
No, that's
Still love you. 1, 2, 3. Nice.
You want anything else, you tell us.
She's in charge.
You're in charge.
All right.
As always, thank you.
I'll fix that for you.
You're all right.
I'm sorry.
practice.
The next item on the agenda is NOACA, Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency. And Mr. John Kalis has come. He's been following this very closely for the county, for the commissioners. And so he's going to make a short presentation. I think if you stand over here and sort of face, so the residents and the trustees can hear you, that might be the best.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Kalis. I'm a resident of Medina Township, and I was asked by Trustee Christopher to stop in tonight and talk a little bit about NOACA. NOACA is the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency. They are our Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, for our 5-county region of Medina, Lorraine, Cuyahoga, Lake, and Cuyahoga. Some may be familiar with NOACA from the ongoings with the Boston Road interchange, as well as the household travel surveys that they're currently sending out. As the MPO, NOACA is mandated by the federal government to oversee regional transportation and infrastructure planning. Over the past decade, they have taken it upon themselves to add water quality and air quality to their scope. NOACA has a catalog of plans for our region, and they are not new. Initially based around the equity of transportation, they ventured over into the equity of housing and economic development. NOACA has looked to implement social changes in our neighborhoods for over 15 years. Struggling to gain traction with the state, their funding woes were solved by Joe Biden's passing of the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Through those two bills, NOACA now has access to a pool of over $450 billion in federal funding for climate action planning. Instantly, their regional equity-based transportation plans turned into regional equity-based climate action plans. To gain access to these funds, they tasked themselves with the creation of a regional climate action plan. In 2021, they used a $100,000 grant from the Cleveland and Gunn Foundations to fund a regional greenhouse gas analysis. This analysis was conducted by a United Nations affiliated organization named ICLEI. The results of ICLEI's study indicated that the biggest contributors were to our emissions were our vehicles, our homes, and agriculture. NOACA determined that we needed to take measures to reduce those emissions by 63.3% by 2030, with an overall goal of net zero emissions by 2050. This would wreak havoc upon the 4 rural counties, considering that NOACA's plans favor the high density of Cuyahoga County. And they're based in public transit and infrastructure, which they can accommodate more of. They look to prioritize redevelopment and brownfield remediation, which we have very little of, and limit the ability to develop green space, which we have a plethora of. They take no consideration for the fact that agriculture makes up over 40% of Medina's land use, and flat out don't care when those concerns are shared by Medina County Commissioner Aaron Harrison. All of these factors are especially troubling considering the makeup of NOACA's board. Their 48-member board of directors is made up of 26 votes from Cleveland and Cuyahoga, 19 from the 4 remaining counties, and 3 from the state of Ohio. Almost always the members of NOACA board vote Cuyahoga County versus everyone else. Right now, there's kind of a shakeup going on with the board, with the executive director, a woman by the name of Grace Galucci. In my opinion, Chris Ronayne, the Cuyahoga County executive, is trying to put pressure on her, number one, to either have her removed or to kind of bring her to heel. If they get her removed, they want to bring in someone that's more progressive with this climate action stuff. Chris Ronayne was also sent over to, it's called COP27. It was over in Egypt. It's another one of these United Nations climate summits. The Cleveland Foundation funded his trip over there. So that needs to be paid attention to. And why this is important, I believe, is right now the president of NOACA is Mount Hill trustee Jeff Brandon. As it stands, it's kind of a figurehead position, but I believe that's going to change when Chris Ronayne, who is the current vice president, is going to take over that position of president next year. He's gonna be followed up by Justin Bibb the year after. So Justin Bibb is on, I believe he's the chair of the Mayor's Climate Coalition or something. So all of these folks are on board 100% with it. I watched a video yesterday from Chris Ronayne from 2009 where he was speaking to a NOACA audience where he talked about regionalism. These folks are angry that people not only moved out of Cleveland, but that they moved out of Cuyahoga County. They never pay any mind to the reason why people left Cuyahoga County. Economics, politics, there's a lot of reasons why people don't want to be there. But they blame us for sprawl. They talk very negatively about us. So his goal is a unigov, is what he calls it. So that would be a Cuyahoga County. They would share all their resources, police, fire, and they would share a tax base as well. So this is all based on tax base sharing. So again, it's my opinion that's the direction in which they're looking to head. 63.3% reduction by 2030. That's 6 years away. I moved out here from Cuyahoga County myself. Pretty much everybody I know drives pickup trucks or has construction companies. There's a lot of landscaping companies out here. There's a lot of farms out here. This would just absolutely wreak havoc to us. If anybody does remember that Boston Road interchange and the saga that went on there, in my opinion, it was Strongsville's overbuilding. They built irresponsibly on every square inch of Strongsville, and rather than take responsibility, they're trying to foist that upon not only another city but another county. I feel like Cuyahoga County is trying to do the same thing with us. Like I say, they want to fund redevelopment projects and they want to fund brownfield mitigation. They want to limit our land use development, our green use development. I've been to a lot of meetings, as Bruce has mentioned, on behalf of the Medina County Commissioners, where I hear these folks talk, and they're angry that we have zoning laws that would prohibit the solar arrays that they want. They're interested in our green spaces for recreation, and if you're familiar with any of this stuff, then you've heard of like carbon offsets, carbon credits. They want to use our green space for that as well. So right now, it's these plans have been in the works for like a year. They've been trying to come up with this. They had some public engagement sessions over the course of last year, and now they're working on finalizing this plan. Lakewood has a plan right now. If you go on Lakewood's website, you can kind of check out and see the restrictions that place is. I think it's a 148-page plan just for Lakewood. What would a plan look like for a 5-county region? It would be thousands of pages. It would be crazy. But when you look at their plan, the economic damage that it would do. We're going to bring in EVs everywhere. Well, that gets rid of all the auto mechanics. They're gone. You don't need to do the maintenance on the cars anymore. You're going to bring in a lot of unskilled workers to hook up solar panels. I mean, they talk in there about getting rid of natural gas for your furnaces, natural gas in your houses. So it's going to kill the HVAC trade. It's a big deal. I talk a lot about it. I go down there, I give all of them a really hard time when I get the opportunity. Aaron Harrison is an absolute champion when it comes to this. He's the only commissioner out of any of the counties that has the confidence to speak up against it. He does not get very much support. Our 3 county commissioners all sign letters, they write letters, they sign letters, they send them out to the other counties, trying to gin up, some kind of support from them, and they don't do it. So I just wanted to come here, like I said, Bruce asked me, and I'm happy to come talk about it. The more people that know about this, the better, because we've got to start pushing back up. They want to fragment us, they want to hurt us, and I'm not in favor of that. So, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much. I just want to add real quickly, we may talk about it a little bit later, but Trustee Eastwood and I were just at a meeting on I-271 and I-71, and in the meeting, they were talking about the Metropolitan, whatever board, I have it in my briefcase, and I said, is that part of NOACA? And they said, yeah. So in other words, they're getting their statistics from NOACA, and these are projections based on how they're gonna move housing out here, what they need as far as roads. So we'll talk about that later, but we'll move on. Again, thank you very much for coming. So the next are the site plans, and we've got a lot of site plans. We got a lot of site plans. So the first one is, for Vine, at 2777 Pearl Road. Is somebody here from Vine? No, okay. Okay.
They're supposed to be here.
Let's,
But do they have, is part of their reg that they have to be here, or no? We've had people not here before.
Yeah, we strongly recommend somebody's here in case the trustees have any questions. I don't know
Right.
if you're familiar with what Vine
I'll
is.
tell you what, we'll put it at the end in case he comes. At the end, we'll put this at the end of the site plans, and we'll go through the others. Fair enough? Okay. So the next one, next site plan is Ken Ganley Express, located at 3083 Medina Road. Is there somebody here for?
Yes,
Oh, good.
They're much fun.
right.
If you wanna state your name.
Yes, my
and-
name is Stefan Mandrea with Four City Builders. We're the ones that are doing the renovation to the Ganley existing building. We're here today for the signage, the signs that are going on the building.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any questions?
Is the renovation, what all does that include?
The renovation is taking out the existing metal siding, sheet metal that's on the front, and kind of doing an ephes, drive it, kind of squaring everything off. And then when it comes to the signs, it's the existing dimensions, it's just a new design for the signs.
Thank you. Then I'll go on with the motion. Mr. Christopher, motion to accept the recommendation of the zoning commission to approve wall sign application A for Ken Ganley Express to be located at 3083 Medina Road, not to exceed 25.33 square feet as presented.
Second.
Second part. Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood.
Aye.
The next motion is, trustee Christopher voted, motion to accept the recommendation of the zoning commission to approve a wall sign application B for Ken Ganley Express to be located at 8083 Medina Road, not to exceed 25.33 square feet as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
The last one, trustee Christopher, motion to accept the recommendation of zoning commissioner to approve ground sign application C for Ken Ganley Express to be located at 3083 Medina Road, not to exceed 31 square feet as presented.
Snuck in on that last one, I'm not gonna.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
We'll have to get it. Go ahead.
Anything with the highway sign?
Well,
Separate?
that's, you have to bring that back in.
Okay.
Get to come visit us again. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck. The next one is for Fiesta Jalapeno, located at 4913 Grande Boulevard. Trustee Christopher, motion to,
Wait, there is somebody
here.
here.
oh,
Where?
He's in high speed, he's in high speed mode right now. Yeah, stand up, state your name, kinda tell us what you guys are doing.
Jose Del Rio, one of the investors in the building. We currently have the building on Pearl next to Quaker Take Move. We're planning on switching it over to the former Golden Corral.
And at Grand Post, I'm with 6 Mile Architecture.
Design.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you wanna go into a little more detail, cause I.
well, that's what I was gonna ask, is, you know, if
Yeah.
you can give us details, some ideas on what you're doing, how
Sure.
long it's gonna take. I know you guys have owned that property for a little while now, so.
Yeah, so they're they're currently in a lease, and they are looking to get out of that. They now own the building, so they're going to move in. So we are essentially outfitting this new building. This is the old Golden Corral. We're changing it to look more in line with their brand, less like the Golden Corral. So what we're looking at doing is, for starters, we're going to rebrand the center tower. Shift the entrance over to it, put some new materials on it to give it some new character and new dress. We're expanding, we're actually adding a patio on to the west side of the building. And then on the inside, we're gonna basically do a tenant fit out for a new dining restaurant and include a new bar.
So it's significantly bigger than the one they're in right now. Are you guys looking at doing like a private room or anything like that, or a party room or anything, or?
Yeah, so right now there's a portion of the building right now that is not gonna be built out immediately. That is to get them in, let them establish, get that foothold going, get that flow, and then they can decide exactly what they wanna do and how they wanna use that space in the future.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, trustee Christopher, motion to accept the recommendation of the zoning commission to approve the change for use for Fiesta Jalapeno located at 4913 Grande Boulevard as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood.
Aye.
Is that the only one for them?
Yes, they just have sight only.
Glad to see something happening with that building. I'd like some good food. Yeah. Welcome to patio. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
We'll see you in the restaurant. The next one is for Waterford Village. Is there somebody here?
Hi.
Stand up, your
How's it
your
going?
name and
Yeah, my name is Ben Geschke. I work for A Sign Above in Twinsburg, and here to discuss the new Waterford Village Apartments monument signage. Essentially, we'll be demoing their existing sign completely, getting rid of it, scrapping it, and then putting a new aluminum sign. It's all aluminum, even the base is aluminum with a faux stone wraparound. It's illuminated as well with channel letters that are about 1.5 inches thick, and then beneath that there's push-through acrylic letters that are illuminated. It'll be double-sided, and it'll be essentially in the exact same location.
anybody have any questions?
No.
Where is that? That's great.
Robbie T.
We'll proceed.
There's a cell phone over
Yeah,
there.
I forgot myself.
You don't need that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Yep.
Can't lose that.
Thought he missed us, you know?
Lucky you remembered now. Mr. Christopher, motion to accept recommendation of the zoning commission to approve the change of signage not to exceed 31.87 square feet for Waterford Village to be located at 5100 Brompton Drive as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have to sign these things. To the other guy. To the other guy.
No, I'm gonna call him.
Then they want me to put them at the back.
No, let's just get it done. It's easier for her to stern words. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Good luck. Good project. So now we're back to Vine, located at 2777 Pearl Road. Mr. Christopher, motion to accept the recommendation of the zoning commission to approve the change of use for Vine to be located at 2777 Pearl Road as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
What
I'd
is-
like to
yeah,
tell
she
you
can-
what it's
yeah.
about, since they're not here, excuse me. The Vine is now the new facility to extend Mapleside, that's in, Brunswick, okay, Mapleside Farm. That's a very large complex and does very well, and it has a very good reputation. They wish to expand and have a different, identity for some of its needed uses. So they they decided to buy Carroll's. And for those that don't know, Carroll's was almost 200 acres, and there was all sorts of issues with people wanting to change the zoning, builders, you know, kind of like what the gentleman said. They want to come out here and tear up our green space, but that didn't go over very well. It wasn't in the zoning, and there had been a lot of effort to try to get something that would accommodate the zoning. The owners of Carroll's did sell off about 80 acres to a private individual who wanted to have an estate, a home back there. The zoning per se does not allow, excuse me, a restaurant type of thing, but it's been there for centuries, it feels like. So it comes under the pre-existing non-conforming use. So as long as it stays as a catering place and not vacant for 2 years, it can continue on. And the people at Carroll's have kept it open, not at the high volume that it has in the past. It's one of those stories where the parents did a very good job of running it, and the kids just, who are no longer kids, didn't want to continue it, but they did continue it after Elaine and I talked with them to make sure that they kept it vile, so that should an opportunity come to continue it on as a party center, wedding center, that would not have a problem with the zoning, and they did. And Vine is, I'm not sure why they didn't put Mapleside or anything, but Vine is the name, and it's being purchased. It has been purchased, I believe. And they're going to do minor refurbishing, minor upgrade. At this time, they're not planning to build any new buildings or anything like that. It's just, of course, like anything, if you don't keep up modernizing it, it needs a little help. And that's basically what they're going to do. But other than that, it's ready to be used as a facility that they're intending to do it. So I'm very glad that somebody came in and saved that established business that's been here for, God, at least 75 years, maybe more, and is putting that use there without destroying any of our green space.
Let me ask a quick question. We were all at meetings there periodically, one specifically a developer.
Yes.
And at that point in time, one of the big concerns was I think ODNR, somebody, what had to do with the dam on the pond, and the residents down below were concerned about that. Has that been addressed at all, do you know?
At this point, I don't know if it has, but whenever there's a sale, usually all the different agencies go in and take a peek. And I got the impression with talking with the gentleman that they are planning to make it just upgrade it and make it a very pleasant place, because everything goes in cycles. Sometimes they want all modern, beautiful places with all the whistles and bells, and then they go back to where they want to have the more rustic. The barn weddings are very big. So Carroll's falls right in the middle. It has all the modern conveniences, and it has the rustic appearance. So hopefully they will be very successful. They're successful very much so in Brunswick. I don't see why they wouldn't be here.
Did you say they sold off some of it?
Initially, it was about 80 acres, I believe it was. There's a gentleman that wanted to have a lot of land and a house, and that was sold off. And the remaining acres are about 140, something like that.
Yeah, a little bit less than that, I think.
Approximately 130 to 40 acres was left, which contained the actual structure, the actual party center. So we got 2 parcels out of it. We have maintained something that's been in the township for years, and we haven't lost any green space.
Was the 80 that you're talking about, was that something that was sold off recently?
Last year sometime. I don't remember the exact
Is-
date, but last year sometime.
Is there only gonna be one driveway?
One house, one large lot.
I think he's
That's
asking
it.
But I
about
mean,
the
they won't
access.
be using the same driveway as the restaurant then?
No, it's a separate lot. They're gonna have a
Okay.
separate
No, I just-
driveway.
Okay,
Just
okay,
the driveway that goes in back to the existing structure. And like I said, at this time, they have no plans of putting any other structure on there, so I
okay.
think it's a win-win for the township.
Very good. Roll call?
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
You second? Did you second?
Yeah.
That was like a week ago.
Next, we have a presentation by the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
So,
How you doing?
please stand up, your name.
Yeah, I'm Captain Kevin Nappins with the Medina Salvation Army here, and my wife and I were just stationed here in July, so we're going over some things. Last year, at the end of our fiscal year, it runs November 1st to October 31st,
Okay,
and we were having to draw down in reserves to keep our food pantry open. So, and then we've seen an increase in the amount of people that we're seeing in our food pantries every week. We're doing about 75 to 100 a week now, and that's 3 days worth of meals. And with our revised budget after our kettle season, we're going to fall short again in keeping that open. So I decided that we're a good fundraiser. I've done them before in the past. They're softball fundraisers. We have activities for the kids and everything like that. And you have a beautiful complex out there. Softball, it's family friendly fundraisers. It's not like a huge fundraiser. We're not making tens of thousands of dollars. Usually, we rake in about, we can do about 5,000 because it's 300 a team with 12 teams. We do round robins with 4 teams at each field and then progress on. It's a full day event. And I was looking, I got the pricing on it. It's over $1,000 just to rent the fields for the day. And I was going to make a plea to you to see if we could have the fields donated to us for the day of Saturday, August 17th.
Well,
August 17th?
Yes, Saturday, August 17th.
not to speak towards that at the moment as far as the donation part, but I would give you kudos for your work.
Thank you.
Got to be involved in some of that horrific stuff down south years ago, and Salvation Army was way above the others out there.
Yes.
They were down in the parish giving anybody who needed something. The other guys were up top with the TV cameras and they were looking good.
We don't get a lot of publicity.
I just, personal experience, I think the world.
Do we
what
have
they
our
did.
schedule set yet, or is that still?
That date was still open the last I checked.
Any-
Yeah, I only had 2 Saturdays available between July and August to be able to even do it. And
I have absolutely no problem.
Why don't I make a motion? Yeah.
Charge them $1, so that's
yeah.
legit.
Fuck it over, kid.
One thing on this will, I'm thinking, guys, if we go along with this, we just gotta make sure with legal that we're good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That there's not some reason, something.
Yeah, we'll check it with Denny and stuff
We'll
like
probably
that.
have to have their proof of insurance.
Yeah.
I can get you a proof of insurance.
There'll be some of those details for sure.
That's what we usually do with the Special Olympics too.
Okay.
Same deal. We donate it to them once a year. We used to donate it to them once a year.
Okay, so that's, the practice is
That's the
unheard of.
practice, yeah.
Thank you for that input.
So I get my proof of insurance to you?
To your Jeff, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeff will be gone in the middle of the month, but you got my number and his, I think.
Yeah, I'll get your email. Then I'll email it over and send it to you.
Presentation
What time do you think, Captain?
We'll probably be starting at like first pitch at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I got it all scheduled out.
Okay.
Do you have teams already registered for it?
No, I will. I got the motto: if you book them, they will come. Right? If you book them, they will come.
Just asking.
No, I'll start, once the softball leagues start, I'll be out there passing out flyers at all the softball games. So, I'm sure it's usually not hard to
You
get.
ready?
And it's in between
Go ahead and,
the leagues.
we're gonna read the motion now.
Let me see if we can make a motion here and get something for you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to allow Salvation Army, I'm gonna put in here Medina, the use of our ball field on Saturday, August 17th, free of charge.
Second?
Do you wanna
Roll
add
call,
anything, or-
any discussion?
Do we need to add anything to that, or, I mean,
Pardon?
I'm just talking like, do we need
Okay.
to add anything? We were talking about insurance and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so we know we gotta do for insurance, but I think it'd just be a standard thing with just not charging it rent.
Right. Is there any you wanna put on there? I mean, I'm good, but do you wanna put it on there?
You wanna put it, okay.
Just
Real quick,
appropriate measures to be taken,
Safety
insurance.
measures.
Yes. Somebody
I'm sure we'll be in
see-
touch.
some- Are there any certain requirements for the teams? They
No.
gotta be,
No?
just, they gotta be able to staff the teams on the field and come up with $300?
Yep.
Okay. Have you done this in other locations?
Yes.
Okay.
Sandusky, I had one every year.
Okay.
Hits for hunger.
What kind of groups generally make teams, or do you find? Are they young, old, mixed?
Usually a mix. A lot of them are, younger. They like to hit that ball. I look at some of the other fields, but then you gotta start charging them for home runs. You get them on those little fields, you're just chasing balls all day. So,
Bring back memories.
yeah, I'm not.
Okay, we'll just add.
I'm not that guy anymore.
I'm giving you the next one. We'll just, like to make a motion to allow Salvation Army, Medina, the use of our ball fields on Saturday, August 17th, free of charge, with the appropriate legal and measures to be reviewed. Upon approval, it will be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, fellas.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good luck to you.
Oh, yeah. I'll get that over to you. Yeah, I'll get that.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be in touch. Thanks, sir.
Okay, then we go,
Mr. Chairman,
now we have.
might I give you a payroll submittal that we just
Oh,
received?
boy. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're gonna,
Go back up.
we're gonna go back up to item 2. And this is approval of payroll. And is it 54?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'll move to approve adopting, and to adopt resolution number 03282024-054 to approve payroll dated 4/1/2024 with the total amount of $82,653.44, with the total remaining deductions, withholdings, liabilities of $13,928.95, and incorporate this 2-page document as presented. I guess nobody wants. We have a second?
I did second. I guess.
Okay. Roll call, any discussion?
Yeah, can I see it real quick here?
Yep.
Doesn't seem like a lot compared to normal, or is that normal?
Well, that's what I'm checking.
Like the officials are in under what?
Like that would make a big difference.
So, what I'm thinking is in here is, she did a correction on the elected officials for the $10 million threshold.
Okay,
So,
that would make a difference.
yeah, so at the last thing, so that is, there's back pay in there, it looks like.
Alright,
She had mentioned it, also she's taking off, one of our officers, but, wasn't exactly sure what the holdup was. I know they get deducted, their union costs and stuff like that. So we were just making sure that we had the correct, deductions and stuff like that. So without deducting for a month that they weren't gonna work and stuff. So, it was a complicated one, but she was trying to wrap it up before the end of the.
Yep.
and we appreciate that, appreciate her effort.
Alright, you gotta do a roll call then? Anybody else wanna see it?
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood.
Aye. You did read the whole resolution under it. Thank you.
Next item is Sedgwick renewal discussion.
Alright, so Sedgwick is a workers' comp group that helps us navigate through problems when we have workers' comp issues. And we've had some in the past. This year's annual fee is $4,085, and looking at how it was paid last year, it was broke up by department. I did get a hold of one of the reps at Sedgwick who said she'd get me a factor in order to break it up by department, and it's done by a factor based on payroll. I don't have that. I don't know whether it's appropriate to approve the purchase order for the renewal based on the dollar amount with the total dollar amount's the total dollar amount, and then
Yeah, I think that's fine.
divide the departments with the factors they provide. That's what I'd like to do.
Well, cause they do the departments for the appropriation status.
Right.
I'm figuring that.
Right. So,
What did you say, it was 4,000 something?
yeah, what,
I mean, it's not, even if you divide it evenly, it's not that big a number for.
is this, you mean I gotta write up the purchase order? Is that?
I just put it there in case you guys needed to write.
Yeah, I mean, there is a purchase order request here, so I can write that up. I tend to talk a lot and do stuff and then leave Chrissy in the bind later. I don't wanna do that. So, I just wasn't sure whether we could do that without
I think
breaking
we
it
give the
down.
Yeah,
biggest,
it's a
I
purchase
think we
order.
give the biggest share to the, department with the most employees.
Believe it or not, there are different ways to do stuff, and like in the Otarma one, there's different ways, so that's why I even thought about it.
So, what you're gonna end up having to do though is have the account numbers on there for which ones are, you know, and then we will have to have the numbers for each of those accounts so that they can allocate.
Did they indicate that they would get back to you with some kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, we're just approving the amount.
Right, yeah, so it's not a big, I don't see it being a big deal at all.
This is another one where you get the invoice sometime after the point, you know, well after the point it's typed out, printed, but then it's due upon receipt. So, it's a.
I think cost an accountant is
So I would like to make a motion to accept purchase order requisition dated 3/28/2024. Department is all departments. The vendor is Sedgwick. Description, they're workers' comp advocate. Dollar amount is $4,085.
Second. Any discussion?
Roll call.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Next item is going to be purchase orders and training request. Trustees, would you have any?
Got some conversations regarding some various items, meaning door access controls and is there something we wanna look at that? Is that something you can share or just?
I just got quotes.
That, we got two quotes for door access controls at this point.
Like the fobs that we have at the police station or something, okay.
Yeah, and one is from the I2C Technologies company. I think that's who we have to do all of our cameras with. And that total of that quote is $8,428.26.
Is that for all the buildings?
No, that's this building,
That's
4
this
doors.
building, that's 4 doors, that's the main door coming in, outside, the one going into Chrissy's office here, the one in the back, coming up the steps, and then the main front door out front.
Okay.
What do we wanna have? Do we need one at the front door, out for the, I mean, we never use it other than so.
Well, it has to be accessible, so you don't wanna leave it, if the whole purpose of this is so you don't have, you can record who's coming and going.
Yeah, but
So,
does anybody ever come in there other than open that door, go change the sign and come back in that door? And then
what's,
lock it?
but then you got, I asked the same question, but then what's the next option?
Don't put
Can't,
anything on it.
well, you're either gonna have to, you
Not
gotta
put
secure
any
it.
on any of them.
Yeah, you don't
We're
wanna
talking
leave
about a
it.
key fob, right?
This is a key, it's but it's a fob,
Right, but it's,
so.
okay, I mean, if it
That-
was,
if-
if it was my shop, I would just put a deadbolt lock on the inside of it, you know, that he can go out.
Ask Chief Walters if he can put a deadbolt on that door.
No, I'm not talking like, I'm just,
Not
Can't
just-
do it, that's the problem. Technically, that should have a panic bar on it, even, so.
to get out, yeah, be able to get out, but not, you know, to be locked from the inside. All I'm stating is, you know, as long as you can unlock it from the inside and go outside, change your sign, and you're not gonna, it's gonna be unlocked until you come back in and lock it. I mean, I'm just figuring that's gotta be, how expensive are they per door?
If you do simple math, I'd say it's about $2,000 off a door, but I don't know that it really works that way. We can, I mean.
Is that
And then if you're coming in this door here, why would you need another one for the next immediate door? Cause you're just getting in the building, right?
Denny, is this a one-time charge?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
unless we go with the maintenance like we do on the cameras. If we get a maintenance agreement with them, it's just once a year maintenance agreement, it's like 2% of the cost of the whole system or something like that.
So $160 or something.
Yeah, it's not that much to.
And then you have another quote?
Yeah, there's
The
another.
reason I did this, Chuck, the way I did with this door over here, that way whoever comes in don't gotta fumble to get a key, you know, out to get into that door.
Yeah, I'm trying not to spend as much money on this building, just
What about
because.
keyed entry instead of fobs?
Pardon?
What about keyed entries instead of fobs?
Well, we have keyed entries, right?
Not
Well,
the
he's talking
key,
about
the
digital.
keypad.
Oh, yeah, that's true, but then again, you can't, it
Well-
have to be some type of,
What we liked about these specifically were people coming and going could be identified with their, and maybe that same thing could happen.
You can put in
with the
different
other.
codes.
So-
They take multiple codes.
Okay. We definitely, I mean, we can look more into
Yeah,
this,
This is just for discussion.
yeah, this is where we're at. The
And who's this one from?
Securitech, similar description of work for a dollar amount of $9,670. So it was quite a bit more for the money, and if I recall, because we did so much with I2C before, most of these companies want 50% down, 50% upon completion. They're gonna waive the 50% down. So, I mean, if you want to talk about some other options, we can do that. I don't have to hurry,
just in my head, I was figuring the back door and then the front door having the key fobs, everything else could be unlocked from the inside and relocked from the inside, but, 99% of the in and out of this building are those two doors there. So I was just trying to be cost effective, because every door you add it to, I know it's expensive. At my company, I have keys, so we punch in at each building and it opens up, like we do back here at the fire department. But we don't it doesn't track who it is. But, in my thinking, when we were talking about this, I was always figuring that door and that door, and that's it.
So two doors and a panic bar.
Oh, but it's just as it is right now.
I mean, the front door, you don't want that left the way it is right now, cause that's.
It's been that way for 100 years.
Well, but the whole purpose of what we're trying to do is.
Nobody enters from that door though, ever. They go out that door and then they come back in that door. They're never entering that door.
Unless
Ever.
it's somebody that you don't necessarily want to and they know they can.
Well, that's where the security camera comes in.
It doesn't sound like we're ready to make a decision on this, so.
But at least we got it out.
We got some information and I appreciate that. Well,
We can think about it, because
and we'll
otherwise.
we'll look at some different configurations. Thank you for
Very
putting
good.
that together.
Trustee Eastwood, do you have any more?
Yeah, we spoke, about a workspace for our fiscal officer-elect. We've got pricing on 2 different sizes for a, what's the right word now? I don't wanna call it a cubicle, but a cubicle type arrangement. It's a 2-sided,
Cell.
and we got something, we got an idea on a hard construction as well. The quotes we got are from High Touch Business Services. Basically, one is a 9x9 size, one is a 9x12. The 9x12 is what we had talked to with her.
Yeah, that's what we would need, is 9x12.
And the 9x12 would have one door in it, so that when you walk through the doorway going back, the panels would be on your left, and I think they're 84 inches high, but the top panel would have a clear acrylic or type window in the top portion of it, and the door would be in the furthest section towards Fenn Road.
Is it a lockable door?
I'm sure it would be, yeah. But it would probably be a key lock and not a fob.
So is this cubicle 4-sided or is it just an L shape?
It's an L shape. Here's a picture of it. So
I'm
it's
always wondering.
so the thought here again would be the front office would stay the way it is, walk through, and then Officer-elect's office would be on the left side, and, she'd maintain some storage in there, and she's talking about a stand-up table rather than the big desk that's in there.
Right.
So we had two sizes. One was a 9x9, one was a 9x12. These would be about 3 to 4 weeks out, right?
He said 4 weeks to order the stuff when, after we sign it.
Okay.
It's up to the installer, to install it, so it's probably another week.
But the actual install would happen quickly, right?
So that's what he said, yeah. So it depends how busy they are.
The 9x12, I believe, has a price tag of $5,604.70. The 9x9 would have a price tag of $4,901.95. And I really do wanna have Bridget here to talk about some of this as well. An idea that Trustee Johnson had was, if you're looking in the main door, in the area where the secretary's desk is, that would be walled off, and in essence, that would be the fiscal officer's office. There would be a door on the right-hand side. And then the wall that you would see as you're coming in from the lobby to your left, there's a wall and a door, and pretty much from the door over, that would come out, and then that would make that one big room. And again, my concern with that, practical speaking, it may be good. My concern is, personally, I think it's gonna cause a lot of operational challenges with what we have going on right now.
I think that,
We need to get a hard price too.
right, if you do this, the fiscal officer's office is gonna be right there at the door of people coming in from the lobby. And speaking with her, she wants a space that's gonna be quiet, away from everything, as much as we can put it away from things.
Well, it's gonna be a solid wall there too, it's not gonna be a glass window or anything like that, and the secretary's desk will be literally right outside that even. We were just talking about, because that wall was never there originally, that was an open space, to put the wall divided in there. I looked at how it's attached to the other wall, you can see how they cut it out for the radiators, it's literally just framed in there and supported by the overhang over the door. There's one line of electric going in there. It'd be a one-day demo. The reason I brought this up is because you have 3 walls already built for structure already there. I was even thinking with that cubicle thing, how that sounds like they're making an L shape, they're gonna be fastening that into the wall. You could even just do one line right across there and use the same feature minus one wall. But this idea was just to open up that room's compartmentalized as it is right now. So then you add another cubicle in there, and it's just gonna look like a hodgepodge cluster. And I thought this would open it up, put the carpet down across the whole thing, makes a nice big open space. It's not, taken away from the secretary, because she'll be able to see that door right there. And it just makes it actually a bigger space, more usable.
For the purposes of comparing, fiscal officer will be back up Monday to begin her term. I think we ought to engage her in the conversation, but do you have a way to get somebody to give us a price on this?
Yeah, I actually talked with a construction company today. Actually, it was a general contractor that came in to have us look at one of their vehicles, and he said that he would give me some information on just the framework, because he said it's so small of a project, and he said it's probably gonna be under $3,000, that it's not worth them getting their hands dirty, and that they would just contact their framework for us.
Well,
that's all it's gonna be.
Let's table that conversation for the moment.
But the other idea you brought up, just with this modular thing here, those modulars are designed to fit. I'm always wondering if you could just use one of those modular things across that opening with the locking door, and then just simply remove that other wall, do new laminate flooring in there, and the place would look tremendously bigger.
I think we do need to do some flooring.
I think the big thing is, we're gonna have to,
Wait for an amen.
we're gonna have to have fiscal officer-elect Painter have her input. It's gonna be her office, and she's gotta be comfortable with what's gonna happen. That's, to me, the most important thing.
Okay. Well, we're gonna table that as far as making any calls on that tonight.
Do you have anything else?
I do not.
Trustee Johnson, do you have any?
I'm gonna have one of each.
There you go.
So first one, I'd like to make a motion for a purchase order. Department's gonna be police. It's gonna be, the vendor is First National Bank. And this is going to be for our new officers, HSA contribution as of April through December. The total amount will be for $2,400.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I'm glad to have them on board.
Yeah.
All right. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Next one is a training request. I'd like to make a motion for a training request. There is a cost in this one. It's gonna be $1,400. It's going to be the annual SWAT conference, and this is for Sergeant Nicholson. It's gonna be June 9th through the 14th of 2024.
Second.
Any discussion on it? It's a longer conference. It's multiple days. It'll cover, meal costs, everything else like that.
Where's it at?
Every year, if I'm correct, it's at the Kalahari Conference Center.
Okay.
So it's in Sandusky.
And how much was it for?
We're saying $1,400.
Okay. I just wonder if that's enough to cover it, really.
Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 4 days or 5 days?
It's gonna be 5 days, and that is enough to cover everything. Sergeant Nicholson submitted that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, we got the paperwork here.
yeah, okay.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
All right, and then the next one is, it's gonna be off a blanket, so I would like to make a motion to approve a payment to Motorola Solutions, Inc. of 13108 Collection Center in Chicago, Illinois. It's gonna be for $3,900, and it's for the body worn and in-car cameras. This is an annual license and support fee. It's gonna be from line item 2081-210-319-0000, professional and technical services.
Second.
All right, discussion, this is just an approval of the payment, because we already have a blanket open for it, so. All right, roll call.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
All right.
Do you have any more?
Nope. Oh, here, put this over there too, that's from earlier.
I have a couple items here. I'd like to make a motion to approve Medina Township purchase order requisition dated 3/28/2024. The Department of Administration. The vendor is First National Bank, located in Medina. The description is Bridget Painter, April through December, and it's $4,800. And that's it.
That'd be a second. This is an HSA contribution.
Yeah.
So that's prorated per month. So,
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
The next item is, I'd like to make a motion to approve this one-page document, change to the point of contract for Medical Mutual of Ohio from Angela Ventura, fiscal officer, whose term expires 3/31/2024, to Bridget Painter, new fiscal officer, as of 4/1/2024, and authorize trustee Eastwood to sign this change of point contract as presented.
Second, yeah, okay, he's got it.
Any discussion?
We were in the purchase order, so I just have to deal with it.
That's the way it was. Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it just kinda caught me off.
It's okay. So roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Surprise.
During the transition, there's a lot of change of point contact that's gonna take place. This is just one of them, for the insurance company.
Yep, we just went through it. I move to adopt resolution number 03282024-055 to approve accounts payable dated 3/20/2024 to 3/28/2024 with digital check number 1-2024 and physical check numbers 33395 to 33410 for the total amount of $35,839.18, and incorporate this one-page document as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Can you amend that to 3 pages? I had to retype that and I missed the.
So the-
Amend that to say 3 pages, your
Yeah, just-
motion?
Yeah, so just say amend it to 3 pages instead of 2.
Oh,
That's same one. Just say I amend this resolution to be a 3-page document. I believe.
Just mistakes since they backed out
Sorry about that.
the next day.
Yeah, she did a typo, so.
yeah, but
3-page document. So just say amend it to a 3-page, that's all you gotta do, just say amend it to 3 pages.
It doesn't have to be read.
You don't have to read the whole thing or
no,
nothing?
no, just, I want to amend resolution 03282024-055 to read a 3-page document instead of a 1-page document as presented.
Second. Or, thank you. I just need to sign it, right?
No, I didn't sign it. Unless you don't want me to.
Say you only need 2.
Yeah. Well, maybe I won't pass it to you. But we do need 2. There's one here for you. Did we vote on that? Did we do the call? Did we vote on that?
You did, do you need to vote on it again?
Yeah, cause we did the
Oh, okay.
amendment.
Okay, who seconded?
Eastwood.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, looks like it. The next item is another resolution, amended certificate of estimated resources. I move to adopt resolution number 03282024-056 to accept the amended certificate of estimated resources as determined by the Budget Commission dated March 15, 2024, and incorporate this 8-page document.
Second.
Discussion?
This is all generated by the county.
Alright, this is what was presented to us when we were doing the workshop, so now it's just us accepting it.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Just for the record, you wanna share what the amended certificate actually ended up being?
Three of them.
So if you want, I can read it real quick. It's gonna be the amendment certificate is for $11,851,610.
There's three of them. Okay, so permanent budget,
We're in old business.
yeah. Yeah, so permanent budget, next item will be the permanent budget appropriations discussion. So trustee Eastwood, do you wanna make some comments there?
Yeah, we've worked through this several times and we got to a number I think we were fairly comfortable with, and we had the specific breakdowns from our work sessions. The one thing that I did wanna talk about was, I noticed that, and we found this in the past as well, that our permanent, we call it a permanent budget, I'm told it really should be called a permanent appropriation for a matter of words, but the appropriation we have worked on, there was a little inconsistency from a perspective that my mouse is falling asleep. Okay. It is not responding. Oh, there we go. All right. So I was trying to look at our carryover from these permits, looking at the old appropriations, and where I had a struggle was looking under roads and bridges, and there was a purchase order from last year for $355,000 for a building. Moving into this year and looking at those same line items, the permanent appropriation that we approved or we wanted to submit doesn't have a line item for that at all. Here, you know.
It's on the appropriation sheet.
That, based on I'm sorry, that's give me the small stuff back, keep the big one. But yeah, you know, so I started digging into it because
I can see it from over here.
what we found out was, okay, Denny, there were 3 invoices paid this year, all in 2024. And it's paid down to about 78,000 or so to go. And I'm confident we have money we can move, but I'm just confused why you know, what do we do with that buildings line? And, you know, cause it could mean we end up drawing out a, general fund to finish, but we got into this kind of thing before once, and without having everybody planned together, we got a situation where we've written $275,000 worth of checks, and are we gonna pass an appropriation?
Well, I think we're pretty much maxed out with road and bridges.
Yeah.
So if there is a line item there, that line item still exists on the appropriations one, so you can change, like reallocate, you know, the line.
I'm pretty sure we can reallocate something from somewhere.
Yeah, so
I
you're
just-
already maxed out, right? I mean, it's.
We can't put any more on roads and bridges. I talked to Kristen today on the phone a little bit, and I talked to another individual knowledgeable about these things. And I talked to Bridget. There was an idea that you could, where we have all of these broken down by line item right now. We could pass an appropriation for up to a certain dollar number, be it 9 million, 10 million.
Per department.
Total, overall, just one, temporary or permanent appropriation for 2024 for up to, let's just say $10 million. That's what somebody shared with me.
Well,
That-
in fact, I mean, with our last total number here, I've always been told this is overkill, and that we just would be with the final number, you know.
Right. So, you know, and/or, you know, we could put this through as it is and reappropriate as need be. I talked to Bridget, and she was basically comfortable leaving that in our hands right now, cause she hasn't had the time to go through things per se. I feel like we put a fair amount of time in this, and we know that our number is reasonable to past budgets. I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that line kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the worksheet, so, I mean, one thing we should probably do is put a note on that, to add that line, you know.
I have added it on this
Right.
particular thing.
But,
I spoke with the auditor's office today, and, pretty much what you said, that they said the important thing is that we get something into them. They said, pick 9 million, 10 million, pick whatever you want. We'll make the adjustments later. The important thing is to get it before the,
Close the
31st,
first.
yeah,
31st,
right.
yeah.
So we get it in, so my recommendation would be just pick a number, 9 million, 10 million, which is over what we have there. It gives us plenty of money in it from an appropriation. It doesn't approach the certificate amount, because you can't go over that, so we would be well within that number. And I think we're just better off to do it when the new fiscal officer comes in. Then we can sit down and go through these things to make sure that things are right.
And we would, to be clear, until she puts this data into the UAN, we'll be locked out from writing checks. But that being said, it's not the end of the day, end of the world for a week or.
For a week, right. This
Something
isn't gonna
like
be
that.
something that's gonna go forever.
But I just was curious, wanted to put that out there.
well, I always thought the way we did it with the work sessions and everything was for the benefit of the fiscal officer, and knowing where we're looking to put the money and stuff like that, but as a whole for what the county is, it's always the end number. So, both ways are correct. I think what we were doing here is working with the fiscal officer to do these different account lines. Simple thing here. So if you guys both talked with the auditor, I mean, it sounds like the same premonition of what we were, you know, what this whole thing's envisioned to do anyway. Just what number are you looking to do?
We make it above where we're at.
Up to a certain number is how they told me to say, just whether you say up to, we're at 7.5 or something
Right, so
now,
if we
right?
said
So,
up to 9
up to
million.
9, there's still more than enough. Our intent is not to exasperate that. So anyone who thinks, oh, we just wanna spend more money, that is not the goal.
I got a question.
Sir,
Would we be better off to go ahead and put money in that line now, because that purchase order is already made out for that?
That purchase order is made out to a specific company.
What's that?
It's made out to a specific company.
Specific company, yeah, so it's gotta come out of that line.
And it's line is buildings.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you wanna, but you're already maxed out with the money technically.
Well, you maxed out, it's just move it from machinery or something.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was saying, but you can also do a blanket too, because you might have multiple vendors in buildings, you know?
Well, this is
So-
my last building,
well, mine,
But is it only for buildings, or is it just like, does it also include like
It's just in
the?
buildings, it's just in the buildings line, it's already a purchase order made out for that.
Are we gonna be, to that one specific company, are we doing any more work
That's
then?
that's the only vendor I have. He's the only vendor, I don't need a blanket,
Alright.
so that's what I'm saying, you just wanna put.
Well, my question more was if you're done with the building getting built, and we're not using that builder anymore.
They gotta do the concrete yet, I don't have my.
Alright, see, that's why I was saying,
got
if
one
you're,
more bill coming, and that's why
Okay.
I say we need to put money in that line, I believe.
So
That way
you're
we're not
gonna
up
need
against-
more
that
than-
way we're not up against the wall, if I get a bill next week, the money's there that we can pay the bill.
well, there should still be, what are you saying, $75,000 still in that blanket?
On the
On the
purchase
Or
order,
that's a purchase order, yeah.
there's
So
still,
there's,
but it's not showing on the budget line, is what Doug's trying to say, right, Doug?
Right.
yeah, I was just
And-
wondering if that comes from last year's budget though.
well, see, it's supposed to be carried over, cause the first 3 payments, the first 3 draws were paid in 2 different checks. And it was in 2024, both of them were paid.
Well, does he have is there anything in the other or anything like that? I mean, I would probably do what Danny says, just bump.
But if you look at his, in the roads and bridges, you got you got his truck. You got improvement of sites.
We already took a lot of money.
We've taken, like I say, this is just, there's one factor out there that I'm not comfortable with. And, you know, I know everybody tells us, and other trustees have told me, you can take anything you need out of general fund. But you can't take anything out of salaries, OPERS, hospitalization, those are pretty, they gotta stay where they're at.
When you're talking about general funds, you're talking about the 1,000 series?
Well,
We,
I mean,
we keep taking stuff out of 1,000, pretty soon we're gonna be sitting here saying, well, where'd
improvement of
1,000
sites
go
at
to?
42,000, that's the only thing I could think of is, you know, throw $42,000 in building and then
Not
worry about,
enough.
what's that?
That won't be enough. You need 70-some thousand.
Yeah, we need almost 80 grand to cover the last portion of the thing,
I
unless,
was under the assumption, I've never done this kind of budget before like this. I was under the assumption, since that purchase order was made out, that money would carry over, it would be there, and it would be, life would be good. I guess that's not the way it
Yeah.
is.
I thought the same thing, other than I looked at the old first of all, we haven't got a appropriation status in 2024, period.
Right.
So normally that's where it would show up as your encumbered funds, and we could have tracked it and followed it. It was only when I realized that we had a $355,000 encumbered, I think in December, in the December 31st status report that we got at the end of the year, and then it just disappeared. Cause, well, we don't know it disappeared, we didn't get it.
We don't know where it's at.
Right, and so, and we can't jack in 355 grand more on your 912,000.
We don't need 355, we need 70, close to 80.
Come on, 100.
But
I still say we put in a number, because we're going through this and worrying about whether we can get a line item in and all this stuff tonight. put in a number, make sure we're covered, 9 million.
The auditor doesn't look at the appropriation like
Yeah,
line
this,
item.
this is all for UAN's purposes.
Right, the UAN, when she starts
Right.
punching these things in, so I think it could be done at a later date,
It definitely can.
so.
Should we go ahead and write something up? You gave me something, correct?
Yes, a resolution.
What's the resolution for the permanent appropriation? 'Cause this has gotta be done in, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, she did provide me,
It's attached to the
it was.
12 pages.
yeah, this was a page to that, but we're talking about not utilizing this right now. That's the whole conversation we're having is we would.
What are you approving?
What's that?
What are you approving?
Well, we're talking about approving a resolution that would be up to a certain dollar amount for the 2024 permanent appropriation. The details of that, a dollar amount would come out in the next week or two after.
I guess just write whatever.
Yeah, I'm
The rest of that?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to see if I can. To that resolution section, such a group that, incorporate this. If I were to do this, I'd just scratch out the 12-page and write 1-page document by reference.
I can retype it for you if you want. Real quick.
Is there something there is there one for resolutions there? There's like, on the bottom, there's another folder. I'm just gonna read this, that would, I move to adopt resolution such and such to approve up to $9 million as the permanent appropriation for Medina Township for 2024, and include this 1-page document. Does that sound like it would?
Sounds okay. So you'll need a number, so it'll be 57.
Is it 57?
Yep.
What are the first pile of numbers? What's, yeah, let me see.
No,
No, I need this. I need this.
Oh, that.
Thank you. And I would move to adopt resolution number 0328-2024-057 to approve up to $9 million as a permanent appropriation for Medina Township for the 2024 and include this one-page document.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Discussion.
Definitely have plenty.
Roll call?
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Alright.
You want to
This
just
deal?
you want to just restamp this one, cause I kinda got yours. Yours is a lot prettier, but I got it all hacked up.
Can you shred this one?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you want me to take the other one?
Thank you for your patience on that.
Okay. We'll move on to new business. Resolution. I move to adopt resolution number 03282024-058 to authorize the Medina County engineer to advertise for road, for bids for the 2024 Medina Township concrete replacement project of various township roads in Medina County, Ohio, and incorporate this one-page document as presented. Danny, you wanna say anything about it?
Can we do a second?
Oh,
Second.
sorry,
You got it?
Okay, roll call.
No, we're gonna
Now
do
you can
discussion.
go ahead and talk about it. We can have a discussion.
Okay.
What this is, it's two cul-de-sacs up in the reserve that we're gonna be tearing out one whole cul-de-sac and then about half of another one. That'll be our big concrete project this year, and then I'm gonna have, eventually I'll have more concrete to do, but it'll be with a different contractor. I'll just get quotes on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Alright.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
That'll be put in the paper April second,
April 2nd?
April second.
Thank you.
And online on Bid Express, that's how they do the bidding now as far as the packets go.
Yeah.
Everything goes through Bid Express on the computer. So we don't have to open up, and they open it, and they give us a spreadsheet of what the bids are, and then we determine who we're gonna use.
Have we used them in the past? I think the county's been
Bid
using them.
Express, that's who does it for us.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we don't do it ourselves, the county does it for us.
Can you give me a motion out of the blue envelope, just while you're working on some stuff? Save some time, thank you.
You want something before we go to that?
What's,
We're to authorize Medina Township Police, which is this resolution. You're talking about the Westfield Bank?
this is first.
Yeah, just go with it.
Just go with that.
Right, okay. I move to adopt resolution number 03282024-059 to authorize the Medina Township Police Department to make arrest on the portion of I-71 located within Medina Township for violations of Ohio Revised Codes. Attached is a one-page document stating the Ohio Revised Code sections as presented for approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
We talked a little bit about it at the last meeting. Chief, if you'd like to elaborate a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, there was a new Senate bill passed in 2022 that allowed townships, prior to that, townships were not allowed to issue any citations on interstates. And a new Senate bill was passed in 2022 allowing townships to enforce traffic violations by resolution up on interstates now. So anytime that we go up there on a mutual aid call or to respond, to an MVA, we couldn't issue citations. We'd have to have a highway patrol, come out there and do it. Now, we could issue the citations. So that's basically what this is all about.
Would this be to set up radar traps or anything by the township?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Is that the Westfield Bank?
No. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that's at?
Well, I've got this here, but it's not, let's see, I guess read the whole thing. Yep, okay.
Just read.
You want me to?
Just the whole.
All you have to read is that part.
Right, this,
This was 59, so that'd be 16.
This next one is regarding Westfield Bank, so I'm gonna read the whole thing here. Medina Township, Medina County, Ohio. The Board of Trustees of Medina Township, Ohio met in a regular session on March 28, 2024, commencing at 7 p.m. with the following members present: Doug Eastwood, Chuck Johnson, Bruce Christopher. Move to approve resolution to authorize Trustee Eastwood to execute a business account roll change request form for the Westfield Bank to allow fiscal officer Bridget Painter to access Township's bank accounts at Westfield Bank effective April 1st, 2024. Whereas the term of fiscal officer, whereas the term of Angela Ventura, fiscal officer, ends on March 31st, 2024, and whereas the term of fiscal officer Bridget Painter begins on April 1st, 2024, and whereas to provide the transition, the board must execute a business account roll change form for Westfield Bank to remove Angela Ventura, fiscal officer, from Medina Township bank accounts at Westfield Bank and add Bridget Painter as fiscal officer to Medina Township's bank accounts at Westfield Bank to be effective April 1st, 2024. Now therefore, it is resolved by the Board of Trustees, Medina Township, Section 1, that Doug Eastwood, trustee, is hereby authorized to execute a business account roll change request form to authorize Bridget Painter as Medina Township fiscal officer access to Medina Township's bank accounts at Westfield Bank effective April 1st, 2024, and remove Angela Ventura, fiscal officer, from Westfield Bank accounts. Section 2, that effective April 1st, 2024, Bridget Painter as Medina Township's fiscal officer is hereby authorized by the Board of Trustees to execute the necessary documents to allow her full access to Medina Township's bank accounts at Westfield Bank so she can perform her duties as Medina Township's fiscal officer. Section 3. It is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this township concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of the township trustees, and that all deliberations of the township trustees and any of its committee that resulted in such formal action were in a meeting open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4. This resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately after its adoption. Second?
Second?
Discussion.
This is basically just switching the account names. Doug's gonna be the representative for us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just being authorized to sign it.
Just-
I'm still a nobody, I'm just a trustee, but somebody had to sign it,
Right.
so.
And it's hard for me to get back into town during the day, so.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. Are there any other accounts that we have to?
There's a lot of accounts.
I'm talking banks. No, no banks.
Chrissy? The question was how many more bank accounts, different banks, do we have to do a transition on as well that you're aware of? PNC? Okay. Okay.
PNC should be reviewed also to make sure that the people that are on that list are the active people, because when I was there, they still had people who
Can
weren't.
you hand me another motion? Blue folder.
Motion. So one page, should that be?
It's just the first page.
Just the page.
Just checking, making sure it was keeping it together. 16. Fire department.
No, what happened to the 911?
Okay,
15, that count.
thank you.
Okay. I move to adopt, resolution number 03282024-061 to approve the final plan for the Medina County, countywide, 911 system. Attached is a one-page document presented for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye. Several meetings ago, we did approve somebody to be a representative. As several of them had to be, so this is kind of like the final step in that process.
Okay, the next item is fire department PC discussion.
Well, it's really kind of, we had a problem with a computer over there. It's
Okay.
a time date stamp on there, and then Lighthouse came in and fixed it. The chief and I are both aware of it. We were discussing, even today, if we need to get a new PC over there. I think we got a quote for over $1,500 for a PC. This is simply a computer that they use for training, videos and stuff like that. It's not, as far as I understand, anything special. Chief and I talked, we don't have a need for it right this minute, but we do feel like if the time comes that we can use basically any computer that's just relatively newer. We don't have to go with something that's so expensive. But I told the chief that, you know, we would get one if we needed it.
Right. I had that a couple of meetings ago, I discussed about Lighthouse with the, they gave me a list of computers and how old they were, but that didn't include the fire department, did it?
No, that one was
Oh,
not on
that-
their
that's separate,
list.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Okay.
again,
No, I just wanted to make
just
sure.
looking at their quote and then just going over, like, I'm actually building a computer right now with Micro Center, which is, it's a very high-end computer, and it's less than what that one would be. So I feel like if the time comes, we can, you know, go out on our own and get a computer for their needs. So.
It makes sense to me. Do we?
Anything you need to add to that, Chief?
No, the two things they do primarily on that computer are both web-based. They're really straightforward. They just need internet access essentially. So, and it's only used 5 days a week during the second shift, so.
Alright.
I would say that, as I mentioned, I fixed that time date issue myself, and it was probably less than 45 days ago. So if it tripped again, I'm not sure what he did to it, but it's a good chance it'll stop on him again in the next couple months, so.
Right, then again, just let me know and we can get something for you.
Do you wanna make a motion for it now?
Not right now.
Okay, all right.
But no, we're fine, and I don't know much about computer prices, but we certainly don't need a Cadillac for.
No, and I think we actually have some computers that we don't even use around here too, so we'll figure something out. It's not a
Yeah.
concern, but we're aware of it.
Okay, so that's that. So,
Before you go into public comment, I have one thing.
what's that?
I have one thing before you go into public comment.
Do you have anything else before we move to?
No.
Okay, yeah. Make a
No,
motion
no,
to.
no.
Oh,
You're gonna recognize that.
Before?
I was approached by the contractor doing a water line on Finn Road, And when they get ready to do the concrete replacement, they had asked if they could cut through Forest View and Morning Song to get back to their job. And I told them that I would bring that up with the board, and let you guys make the decision.
Thank you. So, please elaborate a little bit more what that is
Right
gonna
now, they're
entail.
replacing the water lines from March Road to almost the police department on Finn.
Right.
Tearing all the concrete up. Right now, they have one little swath that goes down through there just for the water line. When they get all done, they gotta tear it out from the center line all the way over to 2 foot away from the curb. The county wants them to leave the curb in there. Then tie it back into it, but more safe. So there's gonna be a lot more concrete that needs poured back in there, so. They wanna use our roads to come through to get back onto Fenn Road.
They wanna run our roads to move the product.
Yeah, to move it.
Which is not something that's gonna help the longevity of our roads at all.
No.
Is that, am I hearing the rest of the story?
Yes.
And these are concrete trucks.
Yeah, these aren't
They're a couple pounds.
concrete, drywall, garbage, they're all nasty.
So I need you guys to make a decision whether or not they can do that or not.
Well, what,
Would you like
how
us
else
to
would they
put
do
up
it
no
then?
through trucks?
Well, if they, otherwise they would have to come down through Fenn, right?
They'd have to go get permission from the city to probably come down, Reagan to 42 to come back up to Fenn, yeah. Or go I-18 to the square and come down 42. You know, the city hasn't made a decision, I don't believe either, so. I'm just gonna need the police to back us up on this.
No, I hear you, and we have issues on the other side of Pearl that we know are gonna come if that develops over there. Where
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna have failures to deal with because of, well, I don't wanna get into it right now, but it's an issue. And concrete does fail when you put a lot of weight on it repetitively.
The only problem is it gonna be our concrete or the city's concrete or?
Some of it would definitely be ours.
I mean,
Well,
it's,
if it goes through Forest View, for sure, and Morning Song.
Right.
yeah, more.
And those are all fairly
residential
newer
too. Yeah.
job, you know, they're nice. I like to keep them.
And even Baker and Watkins, you know, those are asphalt. They'll take a beating on it too.
Why can't they just go down Fenn?
Well, that's what he said, that's another alternate, is they can go around, come down.
There's
My-
state and county roads that get them to Fenn.
That's something we ought to make a motion
Somebody other
on.
than myself needs to make that decision.
No, I hear you.
When's,
How soon are they gonna, I mean,
He's talking like May,
okay.
is when they're probably gonna start.
well, I'd say we look at the different routes and stuff like that. I don't wanna like put the city on it just because
Sure.
Reagan is in the city. I mean, it's gonna be some municipalities' roads getting used, and the project is in the township, so it'd be kinda stupid to go all the way up to 18 or whatever and loop all the way around just because.
Well, I think they're talking about mostly coming across Reagan
Yeah,
42.
you gotta remember, Fenn Road's one way right now, it's westbound only, so they gotta come back around.
They gotta hit,
Right
they gotta
back,
get the
you know,
marks then, basically right
You
now,
know, they're
right?
gonna be coming loaded through
Well,
the development for.
we can put the decision off. I'm not in favor of putting them through Windsong or,
Well, all of our phones blew up when they started this project.
Oh, could you imagine?
People cutting through Winsong, just to passerbys.
Jenny, how soon do you need an answer?
It was brought up to me last week. We were talking about possibly starting to pour in May sometime, but so.
we should make it no later than our next meeting to give them opportunity to plan. If you guys need more time.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first I really kind of soaked it in. You know, I know if I lived over on Morningside or something like that, I sure as heck wouldn't want a whole line of trucks waiting in a row. You know,
And that's why I say the drivers are gonna do what they wanna do, and that's why I'm saying,
You'll have to have support.
I need support.
Shoot him, chief.
You hear that, chief?
We'll talk.
All right, so we're not gonna make a move on.
No, we
that
don't need
tonight.
to make a move now on it, I just wanted
yeah,
to.
you're just enlightening.
Thank you.
That's all I had, thank you.
That's it. I make a motion to open it to public comments, and for some of the people that weren't here in the beginning, we hold public comments to 3 minutes. So, anybody have any public
Open
comments?
it up, is it? I'll second.
There you go.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Anybody have any public comments? Please stand up, state your name, your address.
Stephanie Mikulaki, I live on Nichols, and I've been asked by some of the neighbors who couldn't make it today to speak for them too. So, anybody on Nichols, as far as I know, doesn't want any of those options that they're giving us. We want everything left like it is.
You're talking about the 71,
Oh, yeah.
271 and
Yes, sorry.
That's
I didn't say
okay.
that. And I personally would like to know if any of the trustees, either individually or collectively, have made a decision on that, or you have any thoughts on it?
I actually went to the meeting.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about it in my trustee comments and
Right.
stuff
Yeah.
like that, so what it was a study,
Yeah.
it's just options and stuff like that, none of it
Right.
is actually in stone. Yeah, the one where they're looping through all your backyards and wiping out your houses, I was not for it, I told them don't even bother going farther on that.
Thank you.
But, I do actually have a screenshot of a QR code, and if you wanna get that QR code, there's a survey that they're doing.
Mhm.
And then that survey is to get your opinions, so we can talk about that, but yeah, so that was a meeting for the 271 interchange, adding access to 71 going south and north. They also had it over at 271 and 3, where Remsen kinda ends right over there and kinda loops over. And then they talked about 130th, they talked about 371, and they also talked about Foskett / Remsen and Route 3, with all the different ideas that they were gonna do. But, again, it was just a study. They were showing how at certain speeds, the curvature of the highway would have to be, so at the higher speed was that orange one that you saw that kinda went through your lakes and stuff like that, so, but don't worry, they said they'll put a bridge over your house. You can stay there. No,
I said,
but
just wait till I die, I'm 72,
Yeah.
it won't be long. So,
I thought like maybe some of the minimally invasive one, like where you can go 271 and go north on 71 with a little bit of a curve, that would be fine, but I couldn't see anything that they were showing with going 71 south, how it would be productive to get onto 271 without really screwing anything up, at least with the criteria that they were going by, so.
Since we're talking about it now, what in talk, cause I was, Trustee Eastwood and I were both at the meeting, and we had the ability to talk to some of these people. And if you look at the map, it said like one, it was a real slight difference, and it changed it from 45 miles an hour to 55 miles an hour. And I said to the guy, I said, well, gee, that doesn't look too bad. And I wasn't saying I was gonna buy it, I was just saying that doesn't look too bad, because it wouldn't encroach much, you know. And he goes, yeah, but if you take that one, then you have to take one of these, 4 and 5. And I said, well, 4 doesn't look too bad, that was going north. I said, 4 doesn't look too bad. And we were talking about it, he goes, yeah, but if the state or the federal government decides that 5 is the one that you have to take, that's the one you get. I said, you just made my decision quite easy. You know, if you're just playing these games, if you would have been here earlier, there was actually a gentleman that was here talking about NOACA. And NOACA all ties into what we're talking about right here. Because NOACA is going to use inflated numbers to justify why they need roads in certain places, why they need certain things. And just, I'll say it right now, there's a bill floating around in Columbus that they want to be able to come in and take over your zoning. And that would mean that we would have no say. They would come in and say, sorry, that farm over there, that's gonna be high-rise buildings, and we're gonna put 10,000 people there, and we wouldn't have anything to do with it. So I'll find out more about that and try to remember and bring it up at the future trustees meeting. It's really important to get in touch with your state representatives, your senators, and say, this thing better die. So.
Hey Bruce, I think you took her 3 minutes.
I was gonna say, I'll pick up mine in the trustee
Oh, are you
comments.
still
I'll talk about it in trustee comments.
Okay, I just wanted
sorry,
to
Yeah.
say thank you to Mr. Eastwood and Mr. Christopher, because you both called back and talked to my son and I, and we really appreciated that. It's like,
You're welcome.
it's nice to see government take action instead of reaction.
We'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
Anybody else public comments?
Yeah, Walter Klein, I live on Nettleton. Tonight's meeting was very good, and I give you the Boy Scout salute.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
He's been drinking. Jeff Johnson, 3920 Houghton Road. 4 questions. Quick one. There was a number up there. Do we pay the fiscal officer $50,000?
Excuse me, no.
No? That's what it said up there.
That's
It'd
like-
be worth it. I love a woman, so that'd be great. Number 2, the files and the safe that we bought is now at our current fiscal officer's house. Has that been returned, and have we taken account, everything been accounted for?
They've not been returned.
It's not been returned, the transition's in progress, and I don't, I mean, what it,
There's
has
gonna be
anyone?
transition
what-
on Monday.
Monday?
I'm not sure about the safe, but
Okay.
as far as the fiscal office.
Angela and I talked about the safe, it was either gonna be tomorrow or Monday is where we left it at. I
Beautiful.
haven't heard no more, so.
Okay.
We'll get it back.
Well done, Ben, thank you.
That's 2.
That's 2, we're on 3, I haven't got 2 minutes left. Has, or will we have a state audit for the new fiscal officer once the old one leaves? Will a state auditor come in and?
Can I address that? Okay, I've had way too many talks with the state auditor, and we are, as Medina Township, in line for a 22-23 audit anyway.
Good.
So he encouraged us not to do anything unique, that they would, and I do believe they're gonna do the audit in-house.
Great.
So we're not looking to do any special audit per se. They
Perfect.
said they would look at it, if something showed up, then we could address it.
That makes great sense, thank you. Last question. Bruce, Mr. Christopher, forgive me. Trustee Christopher, even more. A few months ago, you were looking into a noise abatement and you said, I'll handle it, and can you report back good news only, please?
We didn't do anything on it. I've gotta get in touch with the people, and I'm trying to get it coordinated so I can get all the parties together. I'm hoping that if all the parties can come together, it's more difficult for people to take a real firm stance and not give anything at all. I think it's in today's world, or in any world, it's important that you have good relationships with your neighbors. You never know when you're gonna need your neighbors. And I said in the meeting, a couple meetings ago, my second daughter was born at home and not planned on it. It doesn't hurt to have good neighbors. So I'm hoping that maybe somehow we can get this thing done, because you got 3,000 plus houses, and you're gonna make a noise ordinance for 1 or 2.
Just briefly, in conversations I had with other government officials, people in safety, etc., I said, we need a noise ordinance. There are plenty of laws on the books for us to enforce. That man over there in the corner, when he tries to do something, we just need backup, otherwise, you know, he's doing nothing. Somehow we should get something done. All relates back to this other gentleman earlier, NOACA, whatever it was called. We don't wanna build buildings, this, that. Bill Batchelder said it best. Everybody in Cuyahoga County comes down and says, Medina County's nice. Well, come on down, but leave Cuyahoga County up there. And every instance we've seen that, it's the same thing, they're coming down. And
We can talk after the meeting.
good, I feel better just getting it off my chest. I'll sleep good tonight.
Make a motion. Anybody else have any public comments? I make a motion to close public comments.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Grafton?
Aye.
Trustee comments.
I got a few.
What do you have?
I got a few. We'll begin with the traffic study conversation. I got a lot of phone calls from Nichols Road residents specifically, and like Trustee Christopher said, we had found it unique. There were 2 different meetings, one for more of elected officials at the 3 to 5 hour, and then another for the residents from 6 to 8 was kind of the concept. The conversation seemed real nice about this is just a conversation. Their timeline was that they would continue to look and develop their thoughts up through 2025. But if it was to go forward between the right-of-ways, between the design, they're not looking at any breaking ground till 2030. And you gotta have a plan, I get that. But when I looked at most of what was there, and I asked the question, if you do any one of these items, and that was specifically getting ramps back around that came right up either into Nichols Road, literally, or close enough, Nichols Road ceases to exist.
Yep.
And I said, now, Chief was at that same meeting I was at, and Bruce, and I said, now, how do you get emergency vehicles to this section of the township anymore? And I said, it's not just about personal preference, although fourth generation family farms shouldn't be lost because to make it more convenient for somebody. So it's a conversation, but I think that we need to look at the safety aspect. We need to look at the township trustee. I represent the people, so by a large margin. In fact, I didn't have anybody call up and say this is the greatest thing in the world. Everybody was worried about what's going to happen to my farm, what's going to happen to my property, and it goes back literally 4 generations in some cases. So it was an interesting meeting. I think we need to stay, attuned to it. I even on the other side of 71, I thought that would be pushing into that neighborhood, and they started talking about privacy walls, and I really have a pet peeve about privacy walls. So that's just a personal thing. I would represent you gladly in that as well. So that was about the traffic thing, and I appreciate people. I didn't have anybody angry at me, except for some people actually were told that we had pushed it, that possibly that there was and that is nowhere as close to.
They didn't have any record of it.
Right. So. So that was that. Now, Denny had mentioned we'd had people on Fenn Road also talking about traffic issues, and one gentleman I talked to a week ago, and he was very versed in safety, very frustrated, very angry. So I set up a meeting with Medina County Sanitary Engineers for Monday afternoon. They accommodated us. They brought a couple gentlemen from the Fetchco group up, and the meeting was very productive. It went from a very angry, well-versed individual to a guy who realizes that people are doing the best they can. If there's problems, point them out, but we're not going to shut the job down. If it's as long as they're abiding by the various portions of the contract, and all of the things he was concerned with were dealt with. So, but it's part of the process, right? So that was a good thing.
Was that where the water line's going in?
That was where the water
I
line
just
goes in.
okay.
And he combined some of the frustration with the water line and with the fiber people.
Yeah.
I get more complaints about the fiber than I do anybody else.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be an ongoing struggle. And I think we just gotta, when it's appropriate, we need to call the county engineer. And if we do, Danny reacted to one, but they had a box within a foot of the edge of the pavement, one of their boxes, and I was like, first snowplow goes through here, this thing's toast. And they moved it, but they're not always polite, the crews, they're not always considerate for residents.
They don't speak English.
So, we need to stay on top of it though, and if there's something wrong, approach it in an appropriate way. In the last week or so, we've had some AFLAC considerations. Currently, AFLAC, most people know, it's a private optional health insurance for employees, and so it should be being paid out of a wage. What am I thinking of? Deduction, salary deduction type thing. But in talking to the rep for the township, they claimed they hadn't really had opportunities to meet with our departments. And I think that, you know, we're down to one person. I would like to make it available for them to do that again. Whether or not we do use it, that's up to our people. We don't force it on them and we don't pay for it. It's, if they want it, they have to pay for it. But since she said she hasn't been allowed, I couldn't investigate that very far, but I would like to make a motion to allow the local AFLAC representative to meet with our Medina Township departments to offer the personal optional insurance plans.
Second.
Pretty straightforward. Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Okay. That just be coordinated through the department heads, and so the worst thing you're gonna struggle is gonna be the police, and you might have to do multiple visits, that's all. She wants to make herself available, it's gotta work around us, so. We had touched base on some banking earlier, and I'd like to touch base on the PNC. Initially, I tried to get it on as a signer and it wouldn't work because I needed another signer. Then, like you had indicated, there's some people who are on that signature card but haven't been employed here for a long time. So what they told me was I needed to bring a set of minutes that had the approval and that would allow us to be signers. And I had to go with somebody who was a signer, and after first of the month, Bruce or Chuck will be the only signer that's already approved, so,
I'm not paying you anything.
Yeah.
I also, when I went over there real quick too, the guy recommended that we talk with the business banker, because it's a business accountant, they would have more access to removing the people and getting all that stuff done, so we would have to schedule that.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve Bruce Christopher trustee and Doug Eastwood trustee as approved signers on our PNC account, and to remove all non-employed individuals that may still remain on the signature card.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
So, we had this approved in the past. However, in the past, the approved official minutes, and it still is that way today, are the audio minutes. And they would not accept audio minutes. So, that put me in a spot. I would fully expect these minutes will be available in a written form sooner than later, and we will be able to make the journey up there to make this happen. On the PNC account though, current fiscal officer has noted time and time again how she's not happy with the fees that they keep wanting to charge us.
Right.
And I think that when the new fiscal officer takes her role or takes her spot, are you guys familiar why are we banking with them the additional accounts?
I think it existed before we
It
had
ex-
the other one, and then we just left some there, so, and then we never closed it because of the fees and stuff like that, but then it got to a point where, like, you know, like, we're gonna have a new fiscal officer, let's just do a internal audit of how we're using these banks.
Right.
And we'll make an educated decision from there.
I just will put that back up on
Because when
the
I
radar.
originally was elected, that was like the main bank.
Right.
So,
We'll see and pull her into the conversation, but I wouldn't be surprised if that would, that relationship wouldn't have to continue, especially since, Angela has tried very, very hard to keep them from charging us additional fees, and they've given her a hard time the whole way. So I'm not over impressed with that
They don't need her $17.
stuff. We did have an issue too, and I was gonna check with Chrissy. Did you ever figure out what was charged on your Staples card, or who charged it? You had a purchase recently, right, on it?
There is a purchase, it's through Amazon, I don't have an Amazon account, but my charge card was used,
Okay,
and, I'm gonna call
okay,
tomorrow.
so we're still looking into that, but you you had made a comment, your card was used, but you didn't buy it.
Yeah, and I didn't have a receipt for it, so I'm gonna probably, what I'm gonna hopefully do is say I did not charge.
Right.
And I'll get my card changed or get a new card issued. you
Okay.
know, Just to be safe.
Thank you.
There's the Acapulco show.
I'm good.
Trustee Johnson.
I don't know, I'm tired now.
You're always tired.
I'm really sorry.
So, I guess you guys went to the highway thing?
Yeah, we had a 3 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, I was working, but I showed up at 5 o'clock right when they were having pizza, so I think I timed it better. Of course, don't eat pizza anymore, but I looked at the things and it was kind of interesting, just the different avenues. And one of the things that kind of stood out for me when I was talking to the guy there is that they got a large grant to do this study. So that was another reason why they were doing it. If you can get some free money and do some printouts and have a meeting, so, but one of the other interesting ones too that wasn't on here, that one of the guys that I talked about too, was over where Granger was. They were just, like, over in Richfield, they have where you get off the freeway, you just drive like over and you get back on the freeway to do the 271 thing. There was a little bit of talk about getting off on Granger right there, and then just going over the freeway and getting back on to do the 271 thing, which would eradicate all the lines going through your backyards and stuff. And I said, man, that's minimally invasive, minorly time consuming. So, but it was an interesting meeting. The other thing too, on Mr. Johnson's thing about the noise resolution thing, when I was down at OTAs, I was talking with my friends that are Sugar Creek, and they're in their township organization that they were recommending to go to. But one of the things that we were talking about was these noise things, and the idea came up of a courtesy resolution. So not just noise, but just being courteous to your neighbors, you know, like not having parties at like 2 o'clock in the morning in your backyard, you know, snow plowing at 3 a.m., you know, snow, you know, just things that are kind of like a courtesy thing. So I wanted to research that a little bit more and you know, not just make it like something that's about motorcycles and stuff like that, but just something where the noise decibels are higher than they should be. Like, I went to a concert with my son last night, and my watch was going off, and it maxed out the decimal thing, and so I learned what, like 118 decibels is like. My hearing still is a little ringing, but to be young again. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what the gentleman had said the decibels were at in their backyard, but I know they were up there, and I couldn't imagine having that going nonstop. So again, the idea came in my head of doing some type of courtesy thing, like where you can't tell the kids not to ride the bikes, but you can just be like more of a courteous thing, like, hey, just ride them for an hour or two or something like that, or just something like that. So it is in the progress. It's that one's a little bit complicated because of his and hers. The other thing I was looking at and working on, and I kind of read my own writing before the meeting, and I decided not to talk about it, but I am working on some policy stuff to do with meetings, and I encourage, you know, once Bridget gets in here, that we do a couple more work sessions, and I encourage the department heads to write things down, you know, over the course of the year, the meetings and stuff like that. And Chief and I have got a whole list of things that we'd like to talk about in a work session. That doesn't need to be here in this meeting. This meeting is more, you know, of township business and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to that, and once I do some spelling checks and, you know, all that kind of stuff, I'd like to present some policy ideas for you guys. The other thing is, you know, we started at the beginning of the meeting about Ray. Just want to say Ray was a good friend of mine. When I was first introduced to the township stuff, I was a board member, you know, started off as an alternate and stuff like that, and it was Ray and Bill that were in office and stuff like that. So when I became elected and everything, he was always a phone call I could make for a question, and he'll be missed.
Pick up a couple things real quick, I forgot, and I won't take long.
3 minutes.
You got 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Trustee Eastwood, do you have anything?
Okay. Back to the traffic thing, I did wanna add to the conversation that I was saying if you have money that you need to spend, because sometimes that's how these things are. I said, you know, you did a great job. Traffic light at Remsen and 3 is a godsend. And I had personal friends who were hurt really bad, so that's good. But I said, we can get some turn lanes there at Fenn and 3 and down there at Remsen and 3. Maybe traffic can keep going and they're not having the other issues. And I emphasized that till he was pretty much tired of hearing me, just like you guys are probably now. But that was something that they would definitely take into account. Likewise, Andy Conrad was there at the meeting beside me, and we approached the guy about, okay, we're talking about all this stuff here, but what about, let's go back to this issue with Weymouth, and we've been wanting to reduce our.
So this is why they rolled their eyes when I came there, because it's the same thing I brought, and they're like, another one from Medina Township. I didn't quite get it until just now, but yeah, when they saw me coming, they got hit with 3 of us.
I just said, you know, these people have been so hard, and I said, and the county submits the paperwork, there's a litmus test that goes on, and they know before they send it, the state's gonna kick it back and say no. And, you know, he pretty much said, yeah, that's how it happens. I said, why? I said, why can't the local communities have more say? Even the engineer has said, because there's a part in there that says, you know, for engineer evaluation, but Andy says a lot of times they just don't read that line. That's like line 6, and they go to 5, and it's already decided. And so, you know, what I was really pushing for is from Remsen Road, Route 3 to South Weymouth, Old Weymouth, depends on how old you are, and get that down to like a 25. Because if we lower the speed limit in that Remsen Road, the GPS may not send everybody and their brother, especially trucks, from there to get over to 94 to get on 271. And that's what we're, you know, so that conversation was had. And then close off with Ray. I would want to pay him tribute, because I didn't know him as long as you had. However, I knew he was always a stable voice and a level head. And most recently, you know, we've had opportunities to work with him, and he stepped up to help with putting together spreadsheets, checking them, double checking them, tweaking them. And he spent a lot of hours doing that, and he didn't have to. He volunteered it. And then there was another transportation committee that the county recently put in. We had 2 representatives, and Roger Grabowski was one, and Ray was the other. So we have a void to fill there for a person in transportation. If you know of anybody, I'd love to talk to you more about that. They meet next month as a start of a process. But Ray was an encouraging guy, and like several other of the past trustees, very helpful. You know, and they weren't problematic. If you needed a question, they'd at least share their thoughts. And so, my hat's off to him and his family.
Do you have any other?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Just a couple.
could I make a comment, before you close the meeting, on the 271 issue? I know you, were at the, I'll say private meeting, because it was just for the officials, but I went to the public, open house.
Right.
And I think ODOT was totally caught off guard as to the response,
Totally agree.
okay?
Totally agree.
That room, although it was a nice room, was totally inadequate. I mean, I got there about, I don't know, 5 to 6, and there was already a line out the door. And people were complaining, rightly so, and I says, well, you know, it's not quite 6 o'clock, maybe they haven't opened yet. She says, oh no, they could only let so many people in, and there were lines, the parking lots were full. The people came out in force. So I hope ODOT understands that. And when I was talking to the one gentleman from ODOT about why they want to put this loop through all the neighborhoods to make it easy for a trucker or somebody to get to 71 South, I said, all they got to do is stay on, and when they come up the existing ramp onto 71, get off, go under the bridge, and make a left-hand turn and go down. He says, but they don't know how to do that. And I says, put signs out. I says, put a big sign out saying to I-71 North, exit here. And when they get to the stop sign in 18, another sign that says turn left. And at the next stoplight, another sign, turn left. It's a lot cheaper and it wouldn't hurt anybody. And he just looks at me. But you know, when you go other places, that's what they do. They have a half a dozen signs telling you how to get where you wanna go. And conversely, the same way, if they're coming down south, get, from north to south, get off at 18, go over, hang a left, and hang a right. Why do we have to spend billions of dollars, destroy a lot of property? It's just not worth it. And there were so many people at that meeting, it was unbelievable. I saw neighbors I haven't seen in 10 years, you know, and that's fine, you know. But I mean, they have so much money. There's other bridges, there's other roads, there's other things I think are far more critical. And most of it, I'm sure
3 minutes.
NOAC is in back of this, because, they haven't managed Cuyahoga very well, so they're trying to spill into the surrounding counties and destroy them as well, and we need to fight it, period.
Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't quite ready to close the meeting, but thank you.
Sorry, I thought you were, so I just wanted to get my.
I just wanted to interject that, but thank you.
That's what that gavel's for, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Does anyone know how that meeting location?
At the
was
meeting,
He's asking something real quick. What was that?
Does anyone know how that meeting location of the library was picked? Because it wasn't a meeting to begin with, it was an open house.
Yeah.
So, both sides were not getting represented very well, because you couldn't have the conversation. So they're having another meeting in the fall, as a result of their study. That needs to be held in a place where everyone can sit down and listen to them, and then voice it. Because, yeah, the library was completely inefficient for that.
Totally agree. I told them they better get a place that seats 300 to 400 people.
Well, they did have that survey too, and I could be wrong, but I think there's a spot in there too to have suggestions, and that part would be the suggest, you know, a larger forum.
They told me, first thing, that they told me that they would have more information in July. And I was like, well, if you're gonna come out with something in 3 months, why are you giving us this information now? You know, give us more information. Interesting question from a trustee from Hinckley. He asked, because they showed a bunch of accidents, where are all these accidents? And he said, how many of these accidents were weather related? And they go, well, we don't know, but we could get that number for you. Well, if 90% of them were weather related, I don't care about it. When I say I don't care, yes, it's terrible to have an accident, but don't show us that there's 200 accidents when there's really 20 accidents. And so we really did cover with the people. I also asked, isn't there other areas in the county or the state where this kind of money could be used? And they said, well, they didn't really want to answer that. They showed things like, they said, well, at Route 3 and 130th, they said, well, you know, here, if we put in a right turn lane, you know, it's like what you were talking about, right turn lane here, that'd help relieve. I said, well, that makes sense. And the next sentence, they were doing a roundabout. And I go, wait a minute, we went from a you know, a thing that I don't know, cost $50,000 or something to something that's gonna cost millions. So that's enough of that. What I'd like to say is, because trustees, you know, we meet at these meetings, I'd like to have, in September, October, I'd like to somehow have a state of the township meeting. And by that, I mean, we realize, each one of the trustees realize that maybe there's some of the same needs, maybe different needs, that we could use some things. And I think we should try to pull together some information, because if we go to the voters next year and say, hey, give us some money, they're gonna say, why? But if you say, here's why we need some money now, and this is why, whether it be the police or the fire or road and bridges or whatever it might be, we should really have those things done way ahead of time. So I'd like to have that. Last comment on Ray. I actually met Ray way before I ran for office, and he was always just a really nice gentleman, and I think that's a good way to, he was just a real gentleman. And then when I ran for office, he jumped right in and wanted to help me and said, here, you gotta do this, and I'll help you do that, and, you know, do these things. So he was just a very, very nice person. His wife, you know, at the time with COVID and everything, she was sort of kept in shelter, so she wouldn't be out, and I'd go over to his house and we'd sit out on the picnic bench out by his garage, and we'd discuss things because he didn't want her exposed to things, but he was just a real gentleman. And so, anyway, that's all I had for that. So with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Wait,
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 9:31.
Thank you again for your patience.
Thank you.